Okay, let's talk about a guy named Chow. He runs a portfolio of 13 different internet businesses, and he has let's just say, a very different opinion on that one piece of startup advice everyone loves to give: focus.
So we're really digging into two massive questions here. First, how in the world does one person build and manage 13 different businesses at the same time? And second, this is the crazy part, how did he survive after a Google AI update came along and nearly wiped him completely off the map?
To really get what was on the line, you got to start with the big number. Right now, Jackie's portfolio of businesses is pulling in a combined $250,000 every single month. Yeah, it's a huge operation, but it's not all coming from one single project.
So let's break that down. His top earners, you've got Indexy, his SEO agency, that's bringing in $85K a month. Then there's Local Rank, a newer software tool, already hitting $50K a month. And Trackings.ai pulls in about $28,000. The rest of that $250,000 is spread out across a bunch of smaller projects. And this diversification, it's literally the key to this whole story.
But that diversified empire almost came crashing down. And to understand how Jackie managed to rebuild, we first have to understand how he was almost completely destroyed by the one company that used to be his biggest ally, Google. Let's set the scene real quick. Jackie started his whole journey back in 2015 with an SEO agency. Over the next 8 years, he built this really profitable portfolio of content websites, foodie blogs, affiliate sites, all making good money from Google traffic. But then in late 2023, the entire game changed overnight. And who were the culprits? Two things: Google's Helpful Content Update, or HCU, and the big rollout of AI overviews. Now, here's the brutal part. Google basically started scraping data directly from websites like Jackie's to create its own answers right on the search page. So if you were looking for a recipe, you didn't need to click on a blog anymore. Google just served it right up to you. And just like that, traffic to his sites just fell off a cliff.
And you have to understand, this wasn't just a small dip in traffic. His entire business model became worthless. He wasn't competing with other blogs anymore. He was suddenly in direct competition with Google itself. And, well, that's a fight you just can't win.
So with his content sites pretty much wiped out, he needed a miracle. And it came from the most unlikely place you could possibly imagine: a little side project that, if you looked at the numbers, looked like a total failure. It was an insurance policy he didn't even know he had.
So, what was it? What was this thing that saved a business that was right on the brink of collapse? It wasn't some new product. It wasn't a big check from an investor. It was his YouTube channel. A YouTube channel that almost nobody watched. And this right here, this is the aha moment, brilliantly laid out. When he launched his new product, Local Rank, he promoted it on X, right? Got 30,000 impressions. That big audience brought in just 20% of his launch revenue. At the exact same time, a simple little YouTube video got only 1,800 views, but it drove a staggering 80% of the revenue. Let that sink in. 15 times fewer eyeballs, 4 times the results.
Just like Jackie said himself, YouTube turned out to be his insurance policy. While Google was taking everything away with one hand, this tiny, super engaged audience that he'd been quietly building for years, they were ready to give back, and they saved his entire operation.
Now, that insane result wasn't an accident. It was the outcome of a very specific, repeatable strategy. So let's break down his exact 7-step playbook for how you turn a tiny YouTube channel into an absolute customer-generating machine. Okay, here's the whole playbook at a glance. 1. Own a niche. 2. Commit to daily uploads. 3. Provide solutions. 4. Master the 5-second hook. 5. Optimize for trends. 6. Build a simple funnel. And 7. Make it a routine. All right, let's dive into each one. First up, own a niche. Don't do marketing. Do AI-powered SEO for local plumbers. He says the narrower you can get, the better. It lets you become the one and only go-to expert for a small, dedicated group of people who see you as their only real solution.
Step 2. Commit to daily uploads. Look, the goal here is not perfection. It's momentum and learning as fast as humanly possible. As Jackie puts it, you're going to learn way more from making 30 bad videos in a month than you will from making 2 perfect ones. It just forces you to ship, learn, and get better at a crazy pace.
Third, provide solutions. You need to frame your videos around a very specific problem that your audience has, like, how do I rank my business on ChatGPT? Then you walk them through how to solve it. Your product isn't some hard sell. It just becomes the natural next step, the ultimate tool to solve that exact problem.
Step 4 is absolutely critical. You have to master the 5-second hook. You've got to earn their attention instantly. Don't waste a single second with, "Hey guys, welcome back to my channel." Jump right in with the value. Here's exactly how I ranked in ChatGPT in just 24 hours.
Fifth on the list, optimize for trends. In a space that moves as fast as AI, being the very first person to create a video about a new piece of technology is a massive advantage. It's how a small channel can get discovered before the big guys even realize what's happening. Step 6. Build a simple funnel. In every single video description, you link to something valuable, like your show notes or a quick checklist. They give you their email, you give them the valuable thing. Now they're in your world, where you can build trust and eventually pitch your product.
And finally, make it a routine. You have to bake it into your day. Jackie has been creating videos every single day for 2.5 years. He says it gets to a point where it's not even work anymore. It actually feels weird when he doesn't do it. That's the level of consistency that builds an audience that will save your butt one day.
So, what does this all add up to? Well, it leads us to Jackie's core business philosophy for operating in the age of AI. And it's a direct challenge to the most common piece of startup advice you will ever hear.
All right, let's do a quick, high-density recap of all the numbers. Jackie's portfolio, pulling in $250K a month across 13 businesses. His top earner, Indexy, brings in $85K. That pivotal YouTube launch, just 1,800 views drove 80% of his revenue. And it was all built on a foundation of 2.5 years of daily videos, starting from one that got only 30 views.
And that brings us to the bottom line, today's biggest takeaway. In an era where entire business models can be wiped out overnight by a single algorithm update, revenue diversification is no longer a sign that you lack focus. It is an essential survival strategy, period.
So that leaves us with a hardcore debate. Jackie explicitly says focus is terrible advice. So what do you think? Is managing a 13-business portfolio a genius survival strategy for the AI age, or is it just a guaranteed one-way ticket to burnout? State your case and your reasoning in the comments, and we'll send you a full list of all the tools Jackie uses to manage his entire operation.